him the alone. Leave him alone.
We don't take orders from you, man. Back up.
Yeah, you only take orders from a pedophile rapist, you piece of shit.
Relax.
You want your bonus so bad, you broke. You broke. Give me your Venmo, I'll PayPal you some stupid bitch, broke mother. Yeah, this is our community. I went to school in this community. I grew up in this community. I'm not gonna let you ice pigs terrorize us, mother. Man, or what? Or what? You're gonna kill me? I'll die for this shit. Get the out of our fucking town, mother. I'll die for this shit. I'll die for this shit, mother.
The man behind the camera here is doing exactly what every real patriot should be doing right now, making these law enforcement agents' lives as miserable as possible while protecting others, all without resorting to violence. While anyone with a functioning brain could see the violence immigrant communities and their allies have been subjected to coming from a mile away, this Republican official somehow couldn't.
He promised mass deportation, but we inferred that it was mass deportation of Tren de Aragua MS-13, the criminals illegal to our murderers and rapists. Correct? We never thought that it was going to be those people who have been here for more than 5 years and they are undocumented, but that they do not have a criminal record. And that is what the problem is.
Damn, Maria, you had no idea? You inferred that? Why do you think you inferred that? Was it because you heard this known lying liar who only lies say that he was only going to go after the criminals and the worst of the worst, and you believed him?
Not only does Representative Maria Salazar represent an overwhelmingly Hispanic district in Florida, but her comments here serve as a perfect example of how the Trump administration has manufactured consent for the erosion of our civil liberties, not just those for undocumented immigrants. Keep that in mind while watching this chilling bit of footage obtained and published by journalist Ken Klippenstein.
Hey, my name's James. I'm James Keith. I'm with the FBI.
Hey, Miles. Nice to meet you, brother. Good. How you doing?
We came out here to ask you questions regarding a protest that happened on the 11th of June.
On the 11th?
Yeah.
What protest?
There was a protest out by the country club in Valencia area. And we've been just basically going around asking questions for a few people that were brought up, and your name was brought up. So
Okay.
let's see if you had a couple minutes to answer some questions regarding the protest that happened.
Yeah, who are you with?
I'm with the FBI. My name's
Okay.
James.
Okay.
So I just want to know if you have a few minutes to chat. So
Yeah.
ask about the protest.
Inside?
Yeah, wherever you want. Go ahead. Yeah.
Or, I got roommates. Can we do it out?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're not trying to,
What you just saw were two FBI agents questioning 26-year-old special needs teacher Miles Serafini in Tucson, Arizona, after Serafini attended an anti-ICE protest back in June. And what's really interesting here, right, or I shouldn't say interesting, but what's troubling, is the line of questioning that they had for Serafini, okay, and the subtle intimidation tactics. One, first, they don't even give their full names, okay? They're just like, yeah, here are our first names. And we're gonna do what we want to do. And then they talk about how, yeah, we're going around, asking people about this protest, and your name came up, even though Serafini didn't know anybody, right? In his words, he didn't know anybody at the protest. And then the fact that they were asking about, who supplied the protest signs, right, as opposed to the actual protest signs, let him know that they were more interested in the shadow entity, right, behind this whole protest, as opposed to, the protesters and the signs, right? And then the fact that they said, yeah, we're leaving you now, but we can't guarantee this is the last time you'll see us. You see what's going on here, and that scared him, right, to go to the No Kings rally because of those subtle threats. But it's very real, and it stays in your head. And the core tenets of Trump's National Security Presidential Memorandum 7 are horrifying, right? Because in it talks about how they're not just targeting, right? Or Ken talks about how they're not just targeting organizations or groups, but even individuals and entities that can be identified by any indicators of violence, or these following indicators of violence. We're talking about anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity, support for the overthrow of the United States government, extremism on migration, on race, gender, hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on religion, hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on morality. What? That is insane. That is insane because you're... Oh my gosh. We are in such horrific times.
So it's tasking all of federal law enforcement to prioritize domestic terrorism. And the way that you go after terrorism is different than normal crime fighting. Ordinary crime fighting, a crime has already been committed, and then you go and work backwards and try to find evidence of who committed the crime, and then you charge them. In the case of terrorism, you're basically getting into pre-crime. So again, it's a little bit subtle. They're correct. That's narrowly true. There's no domestic terrorism statute. That doesn't mean the FBI can't investigate domestic terrorism. That means they can open up cases with this very light predicate that I just described, these so-called indicators. So that is what the terrorism charge allows them to do. Maybe you won't face charges for it in court, but the FBI can look at you and then find other charges that they could actually bring against you.
I mean, so broad that it captures basically everyone to the left of MAGA.
This mandate, right, which is basically a pre-crime endeavor, is horrifying because there's no telling who they're going to go after, right? When you think about all these things that they list as indicators of violence, oh, extremism on race, extremism on gender, hostility towards those who have traditional American values, right, on religion, or what does that even mean, right? I mean, we know what it means, but it's still absurd that is being carried out, and it's allowed to happen. And it really has some similarities with the Patriot Act, okay? That's what the Bush administration did after 9/11. And what that led to was a whole lot of excessive and illegal government surveillance and the use of undercover agents, right? And confidential human sources. So this is bad, okay? He is retooling, as Ken points out, the counterterror apparatus to go after Americans at home. So they're going to be monitoring everything, you know, your speech, what you do on social media, okay? You know, what they see on video, right? If they catch you on the street or something. So many different things. So they can discover radicalism.
You were saying NSPM 7, which says any anti-American or anti-capitalist or anti-Christian speech is extremist speech. We have a task force of 4,000 agents who are being taken off of drug trafficking and human trafficking and the actual crime and being put on prosecuting those people who are saying anti-capitalist things. Do you think that's okay? Can you put two and two together about what's going on here?
We will answer that question coming up. We're going to leave it there for that conversation. Next.
NSPM 7, National Security Presidential Memorandum 7, that was passed by the White House, issued by the White House last month, says that people who directly or indirectly support those domestic terrorist organizations can be investigated. By that standard, they're saying that protesters and people who organize protests where Antifa might show up could be investigated. And then this week, the administration took control, or made moves to take control, of the criminal division of the IRS. This would be like if George W. Bush had said Code Pink was Al-Qaeda, or people protesting the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan were associated with the Islamic State.
This is, without a shadow of a doubt, a purely authoritarian move that directly violates all of our civil rights. And the objective is to make people scared, right? To make people fear for their lives and their safety when you see these directives carried out. So they don't push back. So there are no protests, right? So there are no rebuttals against what the regime is doing in the White House. And they're counting on that. But there's so many different ways there's so many different things that we have to do, right? To make sure that doesn't happen, that people are not silenced, so the regime does not achieve what they're trying to do, which is harming America and destroying it, right? And bringing it to a really ugly and low place. Rebel HQ, I'm Chris Williamson. We'll see you next time.